Hey guys, thank you very much again for another exciting episode of Yoml. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are on Reflection 279, and it's about something about getting back to Eden. And I'm curious to know what Chris what is thinking in this reflection.
So this is another Stephen Pressfield book, which I don't know if do you remember this author. He writes all these like really short stories. Not short stories, but they're very short like nonfiction books. The first one was about the war of art. The about the resistance. We talked about that one in the past. Do you remember that book?
No, I don't recall.
It's widely quoted all the time by like personal growth people and things like that, about beating back the resistance and yada yada yada. Anyway, Stephen Pressfield has it's a pretty well-known book, like in general, called The War of Art. We did that one, like I feel like it was probably like in the first 100 of this journey with you and I was looking for after I finished Nelson Mandela's book. I know exactly why this book came right after Nelson Mandela's book. This is like a 3 hour like audible journey, where I probably did it in a day. And Nelson Mandela's book was like 27 hours. And I think when I finally finished Nelson Mandela's book, I was like,
Give
oh,
me a
okay.
break.
Well, I can't go down another long ass road. I had a quota to keep to. I had an agenda on this journey, and I was like, let me just find a good nonfiction book that I've had in my anti-library that I wanted to check out. And I think I remember after my first that I finished that first Stephen Pressfield book, the War of Art. I was like, yeah, it was pretty okay. Like, I'm curious what this guy has to offer. So I think I saved a few of his other books. Anyway, that was what led me to this book called The Artist's Journey. And The Wake, or The Hero's Journey and the Lifelong of Meaning by what I think I wrote that wrong, whatever the subtitle was there. But basically what this book's about is the artist's journey. So the hero's journey, right? Like we talked about that. I think we did the hero's journey, didn't we? On one of or, I mean, if we haven't, I know we did. We will do it. I don't know if we've done it yet or not. But so the hero's journey we talked about, many times on this whole entire journey. And the interesting thing about the hero's journey is, the arc path of their life is normal. A problem hits them, then you have the hero, right? They have to figure it out, and they meet people on the way, they solve the problem, and they share the elixir, right? That's the hero's journey, right? Well, the artist's journey is great. Once you share that elixir, once you found the elixir, like, what does life look like afterwards? It almost reminds me of like the Alchemist, right? Like, what happened after Santiago made it back, home, and he realized that it was always back at home. What did he do for the rest of his life, right? Like that's kind of where this book picks up, is right. So if the Alchemist was the hero's journey, he goes on this long epic journey and he figures out like what really matters. Like, what happens after the Alchemist ends, is really like where Stephen Pressfield is kind of picking up from this, and saying, okay, great. Like, once you figure out what's important, once you understand your values,
sequel.
this is kind of the sequel, right? And I actually really like the idea behind this one, because he is right. It's like once you find that elixir of, like, for you and I, once I discovered for myself, like, that balance is the key, right? And living your values. And when we first started talking, right, like what comes after that? Well, that's every day of your life for the rest of that, and that's the artist's journey, right? That's when you start to figure out how to be the person you want to be every single day, and bring that out in what you do. And that's the rest of your life, right? Like, a lot of people don't get to go through the hero's journey, or you don't choose whether you go through it or not. You're just kind of either thrust into it or you're not. But like, the artist journey is an active choice, right? Because the artist journey is you understanding where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to do, what you like to do, and how you're supposed to do it, and then doing it, right? And that's bringing your art into this world. Where the whole reflection title comes in with this book is art is your ticket back to Eden. Stephen Pressfield had this really interesting analogy that he kind of weaved throughout this whole entire book about, think back to like when Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and like we've talked about this with My Stroke of Insight and a lot of other books recently about the right brain, left brain. I feel like, in theory, the Garden of Eden was supposed to be this like perfectly balanced human being, right? Like we didn't have any day-to-day needs about, you know, survival or food or shelter or whatever, right? We didn't have to worry about all the logical, like, you know, reproduction or whatever. Like Adam and Eve didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. All they had
Right.
to do was exist and follow a few simple rules that God had laid out for them, right? And they were able to be like the best of the best that human beings can offer, right? And then they fucked it up. And then they were banished out of the garden. I think, as Stephen Pressfield writes in here, God said, you know, got angry with them and said, "You'll have to work hard and sweat to make the soil produce anything until you go back to the soil from which you were formed," right? And you know, that was our banishment out of Eden, saying like, you got to go work hard, right? So you got to go do your, you got to go do some shit in this world. And if you're you know gonna survive it all, and I feel like for most of human existence, you know, the analogy then would be we had to really shift into our left brain focused mind at that point in time, right? We had to figure out, okay, how do we find shelter? How do we find food? How do we take care of our family? How do we do all this stuff and like you know, and embrace the reality staring us, the cold hard reality staring us right in the face, and just get by every single day. Eventually, slowly but surely over time, the thought would then be, well, these are my thoughts at this point in time. You know, eventually you know, as we've got that stuff, the left brain, you know, priorities under task or under wraps for the most part, you know, as societies and humanity has progressed, the way back to Eden, and this is where Stephen Pressfield's analogy comes back in, is meaningful work, and that bringing that art into this world is connecting your full human experience together, where those times when you're in that flow state, those times when you're in that you know, where you're bringing art into this world, when we're having a conversation every night or something like that, or when you're doing stuff that you know that you're supposed to do, that you feel good about doing, like those tiny little moments of the day that you maybe get a chance to unlock if you're special, is like your ticket back to Eden in a lot of ways, where you feel like you're a complete human being. You know, you feel like you're able to tap into all that other stuff that you're missing out on, that you want, that we crave so badly, and like that tiny little portions of your day when you're able to bring your art into this world and do meaningful work with meaningful relationships is like everything, right? Because that's like completing the puzzle of what we've been missing for so long, and then we crave so much, you know, and that was what, you know, the reflection title is like, art is your ticket back to Eden, right? So the idea then for us is like, you know, we all have this in us. Like we all have meaningful work in us. We all know what these values are that we want to bring to life, and we all know that there are people out there that'll help us to do that, that care about the same stuff. But like, you know, it's on us at the end of the day to punch our ticket. You know, we may not be able to get like a lifetime pass back to Eden, but maybe we can get like a day pass every once in a while. You know what I mean? Of doing the stuff that we really love to do, and really complete our humanity every single day. And that's the artist journey, I think, you know, and I think that's a lot of what we do. It's a lot of writing this, sharing this with you and I discussing this, like, us trying to turn that into Clubany, and the vision that we want, and the imagination and creativity we want to bring out in that ecosystem, and whatever else we decide to do along the way. You know, like all those things are our artist journey. And like when we get to exercise that, like it just feels good, and it just feels like we're doing the stuff that we were supposed to do and we were made to do, you know. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know, love to get your thoughts.
Yeah. So one of the things that's, I guess, stands out to me, is when you say, you know, yeah, they pass back to Eden, right? Uh, I I believe that we can actually go back to Eden permanently.
Well, every day we can't always be there, is my point. Like
I
you
think we
gotta, yeah,
can. I think we can, because the thing is, because I don't think there's a difference between who we are as a person that was in Eden and a person we are now, in terms of the potential we are now,
no,
that we
yeah,
are we have, you know, fucked up, you know, our chances with God in Eden, because God didn't take away anything from us, right? He didn't take away anything. He just said, "Well, I'm not taking care of you no more. Now you have to take
right,
care of yourself."
right,
So for me, it's like, because we don't know how to take care of ourselves, you know, we have to work hard, and toward the soil to make things meet, to get the food in our stomachs, to get the shelter, the roof of our head, right? So to me, what we are today is a result of our own stupidity. So meaning that we mess up our chances with God, but also we all mess up our chances of our potential as well. Because you think about it, in today's society, you and I have to go to work and we do these meaningful tasks to do what? And arbitrary goals for who sets up these goals, right? Just somebody to naturally decide, hey, let's go and try to
Do
make
this.
these people do certain
Right.
things. But you imagine, I mean, the image I have with company, and I'm sure you can relate, is that the image with company is you don't have a care in the world. All you do is you do meaningful work every day,
Right.
right? Right? If you think about that, because I
With
truly
with the
think,
community of people and security, like
right, because you think about it, if you and I have created this community, that means that the God of Eden has come back. Because you think about it,
yeah,
when you and I are working on our arts, right? You and I are art itself, right? The reason
mhm,
why we're not doing art is because we are forced by the tribe, the society, to tell us to do something we don't want to do. We
yeah,
hated doing this thing, right? But you think about it in company, what happened in company? That's, I mean, we talk about company, right? Hey, you get the scholarship to do whatever you want. You have, we're not asking for you for anything in return. You don't have to, meet any kind of quota. You do whatever you fuck you want, right? If you want to
right.
go fishing all day, go fishing all day. You want to go sleep all day, go sleep all day, right? So you think about it, isn't that Eden? Because to me, when you have your I guess your necessity taken care of,
Right.
you start to perform your art. Don't,
Yeah,
wouldn't you agree? Because that's,
that's
I think,
that's the
like,
only time you can. I mean, like you can't
because
worry about art when you're trying to like you know put shelter over your
survive, right?
children's
When
head.
we're
Right? Yeah,
trying to
yeah. Like
survive, I mean, you think
right.
is, the survival aspect of it from takes away from ourselves, takes away from the art. I
Right.
say we are the art because once you have meet the necessity, the security, the survival, the survival basics, right?
Mhm.
There's Maslow's, pyramid, whatever. There is a level of survival, basic needs, like essential need. That's the people call it. So to me, that's the survival need. As long as you can be able to survive, then your art start to come out because
Yeah,
you are art itself.
you're
And
free.
so
Yeah.
you and I have create this tribe where we do the art, and the art in turn creates a value that in turn cycles into providing the necessity, which
Yep.
I think is going to be tenfold what we are forced to do because we love this so much. Because imagine you playing tennis and say, hey, go ahead and go teach somebody how to do forehand. You can teach the to do forehand like all day long just because you love it so much. If you ask me to go and go fishing, right, and teach people how to go fish, then you think that how much you think I would spend my time going fishing? So you think
All the
about
time.
it,
I mean all the
and,
time.
and people
Yeah.
and people wants to learn, and that provides value to them, right?
Right.
And so that's what I'm saying is, if I want to eat cake, if I love cake, I'm gonna eat cake as much as I can. Okay, you playing tennis, right? Take the example of yourself playing tennis, and you play until your shoulders is not allowing you to play anymore, but you still find ways to do it. And so that's what I'm saying is your art comes out the moment that you have your necessity taken care of. And
Right.
once you have art, then you can be yourself. And once you can be yourself, you are in the Garden of Eden. So it's not
Agree.
about revisiting it because yes, right now you are
That's what I
revisiting.
mean. You're yeah,
you you have
you
a
get to
day pass
visit.
or
Yeah.
whatever, revisit it
Right.
because you still have your day job, because you still have to go and talk about QBR, right? That's why
Right.
but
We have
I
that next
think
week. We have that next week.
but I think if you and I can create this tribe of community where that is the way it works, which is, against the grain of society today, that can happen. I mean, that you and I can do these, eating a cake every day, playing tennis every day, whatever it is that we do as art every day. Therefore, I say, in that case, in that scenario, you and I are in the Garden of Eden more than just a day pass. I mean, I think we can do that permanently. But I said that's the way. We're not there
Right.
yet, right? We're not there yet because we still have to go and work, quote quote work and do our day job because that's what society is dictating us that we have to do in order to survive. So in order for us to survive, we have to put arts aside for a little bit and do the daily work, and then go visit the Garden of Eden once in a while. But I truly believe that if company gets to the point where that is the norm, anyone who enter company is get to do what they want and has the scholarship to get the taking care of the basic necessities for them to do their art, then eventually that will feed onto itself and
Yeah.
will I mean, it's sustain itself. Because imagine that if you do what you love, eventually somebody can see that value and they say, hey, I want you to teach me how to play tennis because I love playing tennis too, so I'm willing to pay to learn, right? Because right now you go and you pay court fees and tournament fees and all that.
Not in the summertime. So I mean you're I'm chomping at the bit to show you something actually. So my monthly challenge this month was because my shoulder's all fucked up, like, and I can't really hit my normal forehand. I was like, I'm gonna go work on the shots that I wanted to always get a little bit better at, and I'm gonna go. The actual literal monthly challenge was 30 minutes of deliberate practice of tennis a day on very specific skills that I want to get better at, right? So I've been working on my backhand slice, I've been working on my backhand volleys, and I've been working on other little random things like serve. I've been working on my serve. I've been working on my backhand out wide down the line when I'm trying to on the run, and then I've been working on my forehand slice because I can't hit a topspin forehand right now. Like my topspin forehand has always been my biggest weapon, right? And I just can't do it regularly when I can't count on it right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to like shore up all these other different areas of the game, right? So I've been spending so much time this month, and I was just out on the court today for the first time today. I've had like the busiest week at work, and I had like this 2 hour gap. My plan to get my 30 minutes in every single day was I usually end my last meeting with my team at like 4:15 ish, and I'm like scrambling. As soon as I get done, I scramble downstairs, get changed, and I try to get to the courts and back by like 5 or 5:15. That's usually when my wife gets home with Luca. So I'm not burdening her with this or whatever. I'm trying to get it in as fast as I can, and I've been really good. I've only missed 2 days so far this month, and one of them was by choice because I needed a rest day because I'd done like 10 straight days in a row, and I was like, I think I need to take a break,
Right.
But I was having a blast, and I'm still having a blast. Well, today I had this 2 hour window of time in the middle of the day, and I was like, I didn't have to rush myself at the end of the day or anything like that. I was like, man, I'm gonna go play for 2 fucking hours. So I did. I went down to the courts, and I was just hitting balls all day long, and I actually to your point, like I wasn't really trying to work on my forehand slice, but because I can't hit a forehand topspin shot right now, I was like, maybe I feel okay going like this, but not like this when I turn over. So I was like, well, I'll work on that because I don't really ever use that in my game a lot. And I hit so many forehand slices today that and actually was like hitting really, really good shots. And I was doing it on the run and trying to set up different scenarios to go use my ball machine and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have learned this shot like when I was like a kid, because I was like, this could be a weapon for me, and I started to feel, I could feel like when I was hitting certain balls, like I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I could see it. I could feel it. My body was like, and my mind was seeing it. I was watching it all happen, and I'm like, man, like I should have really been focused on the shot for a lot longer of my life because I was starting to hit like really, really, really unique, interesting shots. Where I was like, man, this could become really, really versatile on the court. I should have been using this anyway in the first place, So anyway, so I'm playing this all day long, and I'm having that feeling where I get off the court and I'm like, oh man, this feels great, I'm like this is I'm like a pig in shit, rolling around and shit or whatever out there. And I was just having a blast hitting all different kinds of shots that I never hit, and I was really working on technique and trying to get a good rhythm and understand muscle memory and train my elephant, I guess, if you will. I was having a fucking blast, and I was seeing little insights into stuff that I'd never seen before, and I was like, this is really, really helpful. So this is where I'm going to show you is later on that night, or later on tonight, a friend of mine that I used to play tennis with all the time. His name was I think I've told you about him. He's like a legit Sheldon Cooper. He's the guy that's the
math professor.
Yeah, the math professor.
Yes. Uh-huh.
So I haven't played with him in years because he hurt his shoulder. It's probably been about 2 years since I've played with him. And he hurt his shoulder himself, and then he also was a little weary of COVID and everything. And plus, he's a professor, so he actually is a professor at University of Michigan, so he's up there pretty regularly. But then his wife worked at Eli Lilly down here in Indianapolis, so they would like come back and forth. So he's been basically living up in Michigan because he hurt his shoulder and he hasn't been playing down here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we just like stayed connected via text, and he'll look at my scores and my things of our league matches and stuff like that online, and text me and ask me about how the matches been going and stuff, and just stay connected, right? Well, I probably haven't even heard from him in probably like 4 or 5 months, and he texted me today after I got off the courts and everything, and I was going to show you this. So to your point about art and like when you have a chance to do art, right? So it was like a long text thread, but he goes, this is his text up here. He goes, of course, I'll check back in from time to time because he's moving to Michigan, so he's fully living up in Ann Arbor. But he was like, I really regret not being able to see you play since you got great. He was like, hopefully I'll get a chance to do that. And so at some point, he's like, I'm so impressed as someone who is recently at my level can improve as much as you and as quickly as you did. And he's like, did you ever find a coach, by the way? Because I know we had talked about that, of like trying to get a little bit better at something.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of answered him. I was like, whatever. I gave him my explanation. He said, what impresses me the most is that you changed your whole strategic approach to tennis. He was like, which must have required a lot of untraining and retraining your instincts, which, about which shot to hit given a situation. He's like, that can't be easy. And even though you managed to do it pretty quickly, he's like, that must have required a lot of combination of self-awareness and mental discipline that not a lot of people have. And honestly, I felt like really, really good when he was saying that, because he's right. Like one of my, I told him, I was like, that really does mean a lot. I was like, that's why I love tennis, because I always get to discover something new and to learn, right? That is why I love tennis, is there's always something new for me to learn. And I'm sharing this with you because, like, to your point of bringing your values out, this is why I love tennis. Like, I mean, like, other people are texting me this stuff, right? You know what I mean? Like, this isn't just me, like saying, hey, True, I love tennis. I mean, these are other people that are like good tennis players that are like, man, you just, got way better. I mean, like, and this is really, to be fair, the massive growth with me has been since like Amelia passed away, and with understanding more about what matters in life and understanding the artist journey, right? Like Amelia and I went through the hero's journey. We found what we wanted, and we're sharing the elixir with ourselves and with other people, I guess, along the way. But now this is when the artist stuff comes into play, because we're only talking about like 3-4 years ago when I didn't really start replaying competitive tennis again until I was probably like 31 years old. So I probably took a full decade off after college of not playing competitive tennis. I still played tennis, but I didn't play competitively. My first team that I joined, this guy Mike was on the team. That's where we met. And he was the best player that we had on that team. And he killed people all day long, and he killed me. He kicked my ass up and down the fucking court all fucking day long. Like, and it was like comical, because I knew that I had better skills than him, and he knew that I had better skills than him, and he knew that I was in way better physical shape than him. He knew I had every advantage possible. I just didn't know how to play tennis anymore. I didn't know how to play the fucking game. And like, Mike taught me how to play the game, and then Amelia taught me what matters in life and really wanted to focus my attention and what I want to focus my attention on. And that's when I really started to get better and better and better at this stuff, and even people like him seeing this stuff is like, how did that happen? Like, and I'm like, I don't know. I just wanted to get better because I cared and I want to learn. I like learning. I understand what matters to me now, and this is the artist journey, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what I'm saying is the value you bring because it aligns with you, who you are. It's to you, for most people, it's like this tremendous feat that you have to do. But for you, it's like, oh, this is what I do every day. It's
It's
normal.
fun.
And
Yeah, it's
but
fun.
the point is, when you look at the I guess the spectrum of where have you been and how much value you bring to the world is astronomical, because you're looking at the growth that you had, right? The growth that you had compared to many other people is so much, and that value can be, it can pay for the rest of, because anyone who see you at that kind of growth is willing to pay you to get
Yeah.
your
Let's
consultation,
do it.
your coaching,
Yeah. Right.
your advice, whatever it is, right? Because and that will help them grow, and that basically provide them with also values. So values turn into more values, and values to more value. This is a perfect storm of the value coming together, and it multiplies so much out of this. So you imagine that inside a company where you have our society turn to a company tribe.
Right.
That to me is everybody is able to be to go through the artist journey themselves.
Right.
Where, like you said,
Together.
the life where the life was effortless and carefree. Remember that. That's, to me, that is the artist journey, because you are doing exactly what you're made to do, what you're born to do. And that, to me, this is when you are on your artist journey, and you can be on that journey forever if
Right.
we can somehow create the environment that you and I have imagined for so long, the company tribe. That tribe meaning that, hey, you're not, we are going to give you money to do what it is that you do best.
Right.
Because
And a
we're not
community.
asking,
We're gonna give you a
right? And a
community
community, and to me,
and people that
that is
care
the,
about the same stuff you care about, Yeah.
and to
Sorry.
me, you think about it, that in the way that I see it, in my mind, that's like the Garden of Eden, because you, in there, you don't have to worry about the survival, because everybody's going to look at you and say, well, that guy is world class at being the beaver, world class at being, the tennis player, the fisherman, the whatever, like, hey, the
Right.
tax accountant, or whatever that, that your heart's content. You are good at, so good at what you do, that everybody's going to come to you for that service. Maybe you're a good strawberry grower, right? Somebody loves strawberry. They're going to buy strawberry from you because you're so good at it. And so instead of you, like for example, right now, take Snow, for example. He loves to teach, but he's teaching something that he don't want to teach. Maybe he want to teach
Right.
something else, right? So
Oh,
if
he
he
wants
would,
to. You can tell he's just chomping at the bit to teach anything else, all the stuff that he loves to talk about and care about.
but to
But
me, I
yeah,
think he loves to teach philosophy,
yeah, he does, and I
right?
think he loves. I think he loves to teach farming too, and I think he loves to teach cheese making. I think he loves to teach all different kinds of stuff that he loves to
But
do.
not every single. I mean, for yesterday, you and I talk about learning, right? For me, learning, and for you, learning is one of the core values. But you ask me to learn anything, that's not going to happen,
No, yeah,
right?
yeah, I
Because
agree.
the
Yeah,
thing is, for Snow, it's like, oh, Snow, you love teaching, teach this, teach that, right? No, there's certain things he loves to teach. Not every is one of the core value, but it's not his purpose is to teach
right,
anything and everything. And so for you and I, we love to learn, but it's not like we want to learn about things we don't care about. There's something you and I don't care about, right? And
right.
and you and I, you and I care about different things as well. So your learning is going to be different than my learning, and so that is what gets us the difference. But having imagined the ability to pick and choose the art that we produce, to me, once you're in that state, you have this effortless and carefree life, which is the artist. To me, that's artist journey. That, to me, that's Eden. And
I
when we
agree. I
can
mean,
be there, when can be there without having to have, like, hey, you have a 2 hour day pass back to Eden to go play tennis, or to go,
yeah,
do your gardening, or do, whatever, go fishing, or go, enjoy being a foodie, right? Taste different food and rank them or whatever, right? To somebody, a foodie is their calling, and they're going to say, well, I love to go and taste different food, and I'm going to rank them, and I'm going to write reviews or whatever. There's people who love that, and there's people who are really good at. I mean, I know this for a fact that, because I am terrible in like literature and art, right? For me, I can't grasp the concept. But a lot of people can look at what I wrote and say, well, this is wrong, and they are so good at picking out the little things that, to me, that, hey, I wouldn't be able to look at it even and read it 50 times over.
right.
I can't touch. But they are very good at knowing stuff like that. So same thing with, like, somebody looking at your tax return and say, well, you missed here, you missed there. Like, they will go through, like, as if, like, it's, like a hot knife cutting through butter. Like, effortless. This is what you call effortless and carefree, because
Yeah,
they are so good. They are masterful. They are masterful at what they do. Is to them, it is like nothing. When you're talking about the world class world, deep sea diver, like I told you, he can find the treasure easily and faster and more, safer, and in all other things that he does, gonna be better than anyone else. And
yeah.
to him, that's effortless, and he loves it that because he's be carefree. So to me, the God of Eden is not that far. We just have to be able to convince people to accept this society that is not the society of today. The society today, for whatever reason, we sabotage ourselves and put ourselves in places that we are not able to perform the art that we're meant to perform.
We do a lot of shallow work versus deep work. Is really, I mean, this ties into that book that I just finished that Snow recommended, and I think we end up chasing our tails doing a bunch of meaningless shit every single day.
That's what we do, and 90% of our time is actually doing meaningless shit, because it doesn't mean anything to us. It's, hey, I go out there and
we're still chasing our tails all day long. We still think we need, to fight every single day for, and to a certain extent we do. I'm not saying that that's the balanced, right, existence. We got to do them both, but we're so far tilted to meaningless shit versus meaningful shit. Like, you should have a balanced day of, like, you should probably do some.
Well, I don't think that you need to have that balance in between the meaningless and the meaningful, because even in the meaningful, you still have to maintain that balance, because the artist journey isn't like nothing, right? Artist journey, it requires concentration, time, and effort to bring it to life. But because it's something that aligns with us, it drives it. It makes us feel like, hey, we feel good when we do it. And but so to like, I mean, take yourself for example. You are good at what you do in tennis or in sales, or whatever, but it still requires work. It still requires
I was covered in sweat. I mean, I was out there for 2 hours and 85 degrees and humidity soaking wet, like covered in sweat. Like,
but it's all meaningless. It's not meaningless.
I was loving it. Like,
so there's no, to me, there should not be a balance between meaningless work and meaningful work. Like, hey, I'm going to do 50% meaningless work and 50% meaningful work. I don't think it works like in that fashion.
I think in a weird way it kind of evens itself out that way, because I want to zone out every once in a while and just do stupid shit. I mean, there's a reason why we love social media and why we love just scrolling through Yahoo.
No, you love to go through Yahoo and social media because it aligns with who you are as a basic instinctive. The animal brains of yours, right? Because otherwise you won't be addicted to it. So to me, that's meaningful in a way, because you are looking for social proof. You're looking for survival, survival elements of your life. So that's why you want to go ahead. They do this, we should do all the. Okay, I'm aligned. And that means that I'm not like way off. I'm not completely like isolate myself from society. Blah blah blah. So the thing is, we need that society. We need that tribe. That's why social media is so addictive to a lot of people. It's because they need to say, well, am I doing this? Am I even in the ballpark, or am I completely off? Because I want to I want to know that I'm in the right direction. Because if you think about it, let's say there is something happen and you drive down the street and no one is driving down the street with you, and a bunch of people driving in the opposite direction. What do you think comes to your mind? You can say, right? You're going to start driving down the street, and you're the only one driving down that road, and everybody is driving the opposite road. You tell me what happens.
I love that example, actually, because it just makes me think of what Mike was saying back to me about, like, untraining and retraining yourself to completely to think differently about what you're doing, right? Like that's really hard, because we've talked about this so many times. Like, because it takes an atomic bomb to
you're gonna stop, right?
You will, right? Like, it would take an atomic bomb for you to go, no, I think I am. Maybe I should just keep going and see what happens.
Because the thing is, you never stop to consider yourself that, hey, maybe I'm right and the rest of people are wrong. You can say, well, I'm wrong because not everybody's gonna be right. So that's the point I'm trying to make, is that if you know who you are and you're right, even if you have to be the only one driving in the opposite direction as everybody else, with confidence that you still can continue on that road. But if you don't, I guarantee you, anyone in that position will have to stop and say, okay, I need to rethink this. What the fuck am I doing?
I mean, in reality, if somebody knew what I was doing today in the middle of my workday, like, and said, like, Chris, what the fuck are you doing? You're playing tennis for 2 hours, like, in the middle of your workday? Like, what? Like, you can't do that. And I'm gonna go,
yes, I can.
I mean, why can't I do that? Like, what are
you
doing? Why
because no one does it. Just because no one does it doesn't mean that it's wrong. And so that's what I'm saying is you imagine yourself driving down that road, right? And everybody is driving down the other, and nobody like to your left, to the right. There's nobody in the, behind you, in front of you. No one. You're the only one in that direction, and everybody else is going in the opposite direction. You gotta second guess yourself. But once you know who you are, it doesn't matter what anyone else does.
No,
You gonna say, "Well, I'm
really
confident,"
don't care.
because otherwise you would not be playing tennis during the day for 2 hours because
no way.
No one does it.
No. I was the only one out on the court. Like, I mean, it's not like I'm, there's a reason why nobody's at the courts in the middle of the day, which actually it's funny because what you were talking about, this whole thing made me think of, in general, like how much I love this journey that we're on, because I actually forgot all about this book, to be honest with you. I really did. I mean, I when I first brought this up tonight and I was looked at this as the reflection, I was like, shit, I don't even remember what this book's about. I had to go read back my own notes. I had to go read through this reflection, and I remembered. I was like, oh, now I remember what it was. And like, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, man, I think this guy was onto something really, really interesting, because you see, like, the hero's journey, like, is so popular. Like, you think about movies or whatever, every story is always like the hero's journey. You know, I mean,
every book that we ever read,
every book,
through a hero's journey.
But no one ever talks about what happens, like, when Luke Skywalker, comes home and he's got to go live his life every single day afterwards. Like, what the fuck happened to Luke Skywalker? After he killed Darth Vader or whatever. Like, what did he do? Like, what did he do the next day? What did he do the day after that? Like, was he just depressed and sat around and fuck off? It was like, whatever. Like, like, what did Luke Skywalker fucking do? Like, every fucking day of his life. And it makes me think of, like, The Perfect Day is Ordinary with Tuesdays with Morrie, right? And it's like
effortless and carefree.
Right. Like, it's like, you have to live your life every fucking day. And, like, what are you doing? You can't have these epic hero journeys all the time, right? Like, eventually you take your lesson and you go back home and you live your life, right? Like, and like, yeah, you may have a few hero's journeys on the course of your life, but it's like we've talked about, like, when you go through one of these epic trials of your life, and you get that little Triforce piece, like Zelda gets to hold up and go like, da, 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 da. Like, what does Zelda do after he beats Gandalf? What did he do? What did Zelda do every day after he beats Gandalf? What does he do? I don't know.
He starts the game and do it again.
we don't write stories about it. I know that's what you would think, right? Like, but, like, we don't write stories about what the fuck happens after you get the lesson or you learn whatever you need to learn, and you can share the elixir with everybody. Like, we don't write it. We don't talk about that, because that is the artist's journey. Like that's everyday life. It's boring, but it's not at the same time. If you do
it's not to the right person, because to me, it's like you say, hey, the perfect day is a normal day, like Tuesday,
right.
Tuesday with
Today's a perfect day, man. Today's a perfect day.
And for me, you asked me what's the image of whenever I get to the point where I don't need to care about survival anymore. It's a Mexican fisherman picture. Like, that's the only picture that comes to my mind. It's like, that to me is a perfect day. That doesn't mean that I don't do shit inside of that image, right? That means that I still make friends. I go fishing. I try different things.
Cook dinner. You hang out with your family. Whatever. I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's tons of millions of possibilities what I can do inside of that artist journey, but it's still an artist journey. It's not like, it's completely non-effortless. It's still effort. It's effortless, but it's not like no effort. Effortless is not the same thing as no effort. If you get my drift, because effortless means that you are a master at what you do. You're world class at who you are. You world class at your art. That for you, right? It is not difficult, but for other people, it looks like it's a mountain to climb. And to me, this is what effortless means to me. Effortless and carefree. You get to that state of mind. You are doing your art, and if you can do that most of your time on Earth, right? You are in a Garden of Eden. Because the thing is, what do you do in the Garden of Eden? You don't have to go, hey, I'm gonna go and a farm, and I'm gonna go and cook, and I'm going.
You're being a complete human, is what you're being in the Garden of Eden.
Exactly. When you're in the Garden of Eden, you are being who God made you to be.
Right.
Whatever that you made to do, you do that. You don't worry about, hi, I'm gonna go work. I'm gonna go, earn some cheddar, some dinero, or some pesos, some dollars, or whatever. You go home so I can, feed myself. Otherwise, I'll starve to death, right? In the Garden of Eden, you don't have to worry about any of that. But that means that you have the time to be human, to
Right.
be Adam, to be Eve, to be Chris, to be true. And so for me, getting to that point is possible because, like I say, God did not take anything away from us. He just say, hey, you have learned things that you are not ready to learn.
Right.
And because of that, you now sabotage yourself. That's what I'm saying is, most of our, I guess, our torture comes from self-inflicted misery.
It
Our
does.
pain,
It
our
really
pain.
does.
Because the thing is,
It
I
really
mean, no,
does.
no
Like,
one put a gun to your head and said you have to think about this, have to do this, have to do that. You did it yourself. I mean,
right.
you say, hey, let's pretend like, like, I want to make $1 billion today. So what do? You put yourself in some kind of predicament. To
Right.
who told you to make a billion? Who set up that rule? Who set up that goal?
There's
Who
a
say you have to do QBR, and who say you have to make a certain quotas and certain, and everything we do, 99% of everything we do is self-inflicted misery. We sabotage
yeah,
ourselves. I mean,
all day
to
long.
me,
I mean,
even
my biggest work issue these days with Mia sidelined and away from me all day long, right? Like my biggest work issue these days is there's this colleague of mine. He's a really nice guy. He really is. Like from a personality perspective, he's a really hard worker, really nice guy. He doesn't know what he's doing in his job, and I don't mean that like that I like know everything or something. I'm saying that he doesn't know what he's doing, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Like everybody can learn and get better at it. Every time that I accidentally have to interact with him regularly because he has the keys to certain areas of the business that I do not have. So I have to go through his, his door, I guess, if you will, and interact with him. And every fucking time that I talk to this guy, like, I'm like, I want to blow my brains out because I'm like, look, man, like, all I want you to do is I want to share my problem with you, and you can help me to fix it, or you can say fuck off or whatever. Like, I don't really care. But what it devolves into is this like forever long lecture about how he's going to do it, and then he never does it. And most of the time when he as soon as he starts talking about how he's going to do it, I like zone out, and I just want to be like, shut up. Just I don't fucking care. Like, I'm just telling you what my problem is, and you're the one that needs to go just fix it, and just don't talk to me ever again. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, like I you know what I mean? Like, is all that I want to say, and I don't, but I have to sit there and listen to him drone on and on and on and on about why we should do it this way or that way, or like go through like 9 different things about how we can do this or that or whatever. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. I mean, multiple times now. I mean, I literally am talking. He's talking. I'm like holding my hand on, because it's always on a Zoom call. And I'm like, just stop. Like, I don't care. Like, I just hear what I'm asking you to do, and either do you understand the problem that I'm having, and are you going to be able to help me? Like, because if that's all that I want to know. Like, I don't want to talk to you at all. Because and I don't mean this in a mean way to him either. I just don't give a fuck. Like, I'm like I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with the problems that we're dealing with. If I never had to talk to you ever again for the rest of my life, I think I'd be okay. And I don't mean that because you're a bad person or because you're whatever. I don't care about what we're talking about. Like, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I mean, and this is the shit that you're talking about of like being put into situations where like I'm forced to like bite my I mean, I literally like I'm on the other end of this going, Chris, just be calm. Like, it's fine. Like, this isn't a big deal. Like, like, and this is what's going on in my head. I'm like, just let him keep droning on. Let him keep talking. Don't be a dick, And a part of me, I'm just want to go, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Like, like, I mean, like, but I shouldn't want to have to do that with what I'm talking about. Like, I don't say that to you. I can listen to you drone on all day long about whatever you want to talk about. And I'm like, I don't want to yell, shut the fuck up, True. Like, because I care about what you're saying. I want to have this conversation with you. Like I don't want to talk to this guy about any of this stuff. Like, I mean, it is, you know what I mean? Like,
of course I do. That's what I keep saying to you. Like, I've come to the point where I understand all of the pain I've ever got and will get is from myself. It's not from anyone else. I put myself in that situation, right? So to me, we as a human we don't have the ability. We were not ready to get the knowledge that we got from God from eating the forbidden fruit. So we got the knowledge without having the ability to hold on to. Just imagine me like, hey, somebody give me a tank, but have for me to have to hold it up. I mean, it's great that you give me this powerful weapon, but
Right.
there's no way that I can even yeah, there's no way for me even to like take it home. You think
Right.
about it. If somebody
Yeah.
give you something like it's so great, but it's so much greater than you can handle, what happened? I mean, imagine for me to hold my tank out above my
Good
head,
point.
right?
Yeah.
It's gonna crush me. So to
Yeah.
me, that's what I'm saying is
Good
we
analogy.
were not ready for the knowledge, and God said you can't have it yet, but we got it anyway. So now we are completely out of the logical sequence of what we need to do to make things work. So we sabotage ourselves. We self-inflicted ourselves with all this misery. So for me, that's what I've learned as far as company through company is I understand that everything we do is self-inflicted. So any pain that
In
I've
a good way.
got
Yeah. Yeah.
today, right?
Yeah. You can self-inflict good.
That's why for me the don't run for train. I don't run for train concept I quickly absorb it because I understand that hey, why should I run for the train? Why? I mean, what's the point,
Right.
right? And
What is
so
the point? Like what?
to me, that's what I'm saying is a lot of things that we do, it is from our own self sabotage, not from anyone else, not for from.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so I think that because of that, this is why our society is what it is today. So I
Yeah.
think that if we can
This,
start to understand and start to build the knowledge foundation from the bottom up, giving it the support it needs. I think company can be that, and that can give us a chance to go back into Eden permanently without having to have a day pass. Because a day
right.
pass, it's good, but we could be better at it. Because, like I say,
Yeah.
if you were in the Garden of Eden and if Adam and Eve never ate the fruit, right? They would spend all the day doing the arts. You think about it.
Right.
That's what they're supposed to do, and you want to do it. But today we spend like 1% or no percent doing our art. We're doing all this shitty, meaningful shit that
Yeah. I'm yelling at
it,
somebody
it,
that I don't want to yell
it's
about.
painful to us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after I just explained that whole thing to you, like this poor guy has to think like maybe I'm like schizo or something like that because every meeting that he's on with me and other meetings where I'm talking to somebody else, I'm like incredibly respectful, very collaborative with people, like whatever. Like, and he's probably like, why do I get the shit, Chris? And part of it's exactly what we're talking about. You get the shit, Chris, because we're talking about stuff that I don't give a fuck about, and you think that I do care, and you want to keep talking about it. I don't care. Like I don't care. Like just take it away from me, please. Leave it. And I don't want this. Like I don't want anything to do with this. And you want to like argue with me about it, like and
So,
explain to
so
me all these
it's
things.
inflicting misery onto you, but it's also inflicting misery onto him as well.
It
You think
is,
about it,
yeah,
it,
it
it just
is.
multiplies out of control.
It
So
does.
that's what I'm saying is
It's a
our
negative
human
compound effect.
society is completely out of whack. And
It's
that's the reason why we are not in the Garden of Eden anymore. Because we did that to ourselves. It's not, you don't go blame God or blame the serpent, you blame everybody else except for us because you're the
right.
one who chose. I mean, it's not like the serpent lies to you, right?
Yeah.
You just didn't understand what he said.
I mean, it's you're.
But we
I
blame
think you're smart.
on the serpent and say, hey, he tricked me. Like, no father fucking trick you into anything. You sabotage your own self, and now you continue to sabotage by not
Doing the
even
same
taking
shit over and over again.
accountability, right? You go and you suffer this meeting with this guy. He's also suffering. I
Yeah.
guarantee you, he's not having fun.
Oh no, he's not. I mean, I can see it on his face getting more and more frustrated with me, and I'm like, I'm
You're
going like,
frustrated. He's frustrated because
right, like,
imagine that.
and this is like this. I feel like this happens like twice a week, and like honestly, like I know both of us dread the conversations we have to have with each other, and like and to your whole point though, like this is like a great analogy of the negative compound effect, the negative spiral of not doing stuff that neither one of us, because I know that he doesn't even want to do the stuff that he's doing. To be fair, he got shoved into this role that he was unqualified for, and he's trying his best to work hard and to be. That's why I said he's a good guy. He works hard. He's trying.
But it's not
he
his
doesn't
art.
know what he's doing. But it's not his art, and he doesn't care either. Like, I don't care about what I'm asking him to do, and he doesn't care about what he's delivering back to me. And we're just therefore arguing about nothing that either one of us care about. And I'm just like, just do it. And he's like, I don't want to do it. Like, like, I mean, like, so here's the rub of it all is, like, it turns into a negative shit spiral of not meaningful relationships and not meaningful work. And then it gets worse and worse and worse. And then we're both miserable, versus on the other side of it, like, me playing tennis and trying my best to be who I want to be helps me to meet guys like Mike Zeeb, who's fucking Sheldon Cooper, who's texting me saying, like, I'm really impressed by your ability to, like, problem solve and unlearn. Like, this is from a fucking mathematician that's like a world-renowned mathematician. This is what he does. Like, this is like that, like, a theoretical mathematician has to probably unlearn all day long. This is why when he talks to me, he's probably like, I don't understand how you don't like math. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I really like, he's like, this is what you need to do to be a good mathematician, you know? And like, the point of what I'm getting at with that is like, these are upward spiral conversations,
exactly.
And things where we're encouraging each other to get better. We're finding the similarities to get along with and to connect on and to help each other, you know? Like, yeah, I mean, it's so easy to see, like, the difference of, you know, between the two, right? You know?
Exactly. I mean, what I'm saying is, you know, everything is going to spiral upward and everything is spiral downward. And our society today is spiraling downward and getting worse and worse. It's because we do that. It's right now, it's like when you go to work, it's like, it's not like, even in the past, like, we basically shoot ourselves in the foot in the past as well. But in the past, at least you have like co-workers and you still have this camaraderie.
Yeah,
and today it's like, when you have a community back then, like, hey, you know, I work with John and John this, and we have this, you know,
care about him.
This workmates, right? Today it's like, you don't even care the guy you meet every day. You see the guy's face every day, because the thing is, he drives you nuts.
I'll probably never meet him. He lives in Toronto.
You don't meet him, but you talk to him, right? You are face to face with him on a camera. Even in that scenario, you frustrate him. He frustrates you. So today, it's not like you can connect. For you and me, like, I never seen you in person, but I have a connection with you. And to me, because of the thing we talk about, we want to talk about. This is the art that we want to do.
Yeah.
And
you've never seen me angry. You've never seen me even remotely frustrated.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying is because we are doing things we want to do and do the art that we do with other people, it spirals upward. It compounds upward. Compounds positively.
It's good energy. It's positive energy. I mean, it's good stuff that comes out of this. It only is an upward spiral when you and I talk. It's only a downward spiral when this other guy and I talk.
Because you know, and it's not just you, it's me too. I mean, I talk to other people as well, because the thing is, I was forced to do the things that I want to do, and then he's forced to do it, and he frustrates me, and I frustrate him, and so it gets out of control, and then he goes and frustrates other people, and I go frustrate other people as well. Because the thing is, we don't have any alignment, and that creates this society. I don't know what you call the state of society today, but I don't think. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
that society today is completely not the thing that we want, and that's why, to me,
we're gonna fix
company is important, because we are going to undo that and rebuild this tribe where you come in and you do your art, and you do that 90% to 100% of the time, right? And that effect, that positive effect, will actually spiral, compound into to help other people, because you go and influence other people around you positively, not negatively. Because if I bring in a negative emotion to a meeting, right, that's going to frustrate other people, and they're going to frustrate more and more. And so that's what I'm saying is, if you talk about something that I love to talk about, positive emotion is the only thing that exudes from my body. It's not going to say, hey, I love to eat cake, but then how can you go and be negative on something you love to do? I mean, imagine, hey, I love to eat cake, eat ice cream, whatever it is. Like, how can you?
Who's bitching about eating ice cream? Who's bitching about eating cake? Like, who sits around and goes, oh, I got a fucking eat this goddamn cake. This is disgusting. I can't believe you guys are making me do this. Like, I might joke around with like my aunt. I told you my
But
aunt always makes
the
these
thing
like,
is,
you know,
even if
treats.
you joke around that and say, hey,
Oh, no, and then I
God
dive
damn
in.
it,
I'm like,
right?
you know,
I'm gonna get diabetic, but people are gonna, they cannot take that negatively. They
no,
can't.
not at all.
They're
No,
gonna
yeah,
laugh at you and say, Chris, you're funny, but they cannot
exactly.
take it negatively. There's no way. And
Actually,
to
if
me,
anything, it gets even it's even funnier because I do this. My aunt makes like these fucking gluten-free brownies for me. Like being gluten-free is kind of like a secret weapon when it comes to like, you know, pitch-ins and whatever. Like, you know, there's no sweets to usually eat. There's no really, you know, besides like chips or whatever. There's usually only like fruit and vegetables and stuff like that to like eat off like the party plates and whatever. Like I get to accidentally eat healthy when I'm around other people, and like it's almost like a built-in excuse in a weird way, right? And I mean, that's how I look at it a lot of times. Well, like my aunt is like super nice and accommodating, and she loves to like, you know, try to be nice, you know, and it'll cook like gluten-free desserts all the time, and she makes some really
but
really
that's
good
the thing is,
desserts.
she does it all
And
the time.
yeah,
She does it all the time. Why do you
no,
think she does it
this is
all
why.
the
No,
time?
I know why she does it all the time because this is what happens every fucking time. Is she puts it on and there and she's like, hey Chris, just want to let you know I made this gluten-free special for you and your mom and your sister, you know, and I'm like, thanks, Aunt Lisa. Really appreciate it. Like, god damn. And then she's like, you know, and then she's just like, she's never like putting pressure on me, but I know there's pressure on me. Like, I gotta eat her fucking her
No, you don't
delectable
gotta eat
desserts. You know,
nothing.
no, I
The thing
do.
is,
I know.
you know you want to, and she
I want
knows
to.
that you
Yeah.
want to, and she knows that it makes you happy. That is
Yeah.
why she does it all the time, not
Oh, I
because,
know. Yeah.
right? Because it doesn't matter what you say, but it's the way that you exude that
Oh, I
positive
know. It happens.
vibe, right?
It
And
happens
that's
every
why
single
she makes
time.
it.
It happens every single damn time where I'll finally go, like, I'll be done with dinner. And actually, sometimes I just want to like sneak out. Like, I'll be done with dinner. My mom will be like, hey, did you try some whatever? And I'm like, damn it, mom. Like, you know, no, stop that. You know, so then I end up eating it. And then I'm like, oh, this is so good. It's so good. And she's like laughing at me over in the corner. I'm like, stop making food. Like, you know, and then she brings in more. She's like upping her game now. Like, the desserts are getting better and better.
Exactly. That's why I say
I'm like, like, you know,
positive compounding effect, because
it is.
there's nothing that you can do because you love it. That's why they see that you love it. They can say, well, I love to see Chris exude a positive emotion. They can
Yeah.
continue, not only that they continue to wait, they up their game, they're doing it,
Oh, they're doing it better.
they are
Fourth of
upgrading their art.
Oh my God, 4th of July, she brought down this like gluten-free pecan fudge, like like chocolate melded like I don't even know what the fuck it was. It was like awesome. It was just
It sounds
it was
good to me.
it was just fucking awesome. Like, and I kept walking by it. We were at my parents' lake house, and it was like, you know, a bunch of my family were down there, and people were just obviously were bringing food down and stuff. And I like walked by, and I was like, what the fuck is that thing? You know, and I like it was almost looked so good that I was like, that can't be gluten free. I was like, they cannot possibly be gluten
But
free.
it is.
So I walked downstairs. I walk downstairs. I go out to the dock, and like everybody's out on the dock, you know, our deck on the, you know, over the water or whatever. And and I was like, hey, what was that like pecan looking, you know, thing up in there? And my Aunt Lisa's like, oh, I made that. Like, she was like that's actually gluten free. She's like, I handmade the crust, like whatever. And I was like, no. And I ended up taking like this massive amount of it home after I ate so much of it. Like, every time I'd walk by it, I would just take more. And eventually, like, there was like a nice little corner piece of it left, like a good quarter of the pan left.
Right.
You know, by the time the day was over, and like, of course, it ended up going home with me, and I stared at it in my fridge the first 2 days after this was a Tuesday, whatever 4th of July was. For like Wednesday and Thursday, I like stared at this thing, and I was like, I can't eat this again. I was like, I know how bad. Like, my stomach hurt. Like, it didn't hurt like gluten free. Like, it didn't hurt like I got gluten. It hurt like I ate a shitload of bad.
You eat
sweets,
way more than
like,
you should.
right. It's like, and I was like, I can't eat this. I can't eat this. And then and then it happened. True. Like, it was like
you cannot
Thursday.
escape your art.
my wife the next day comes in and she was like, "Did you eat all that stuff that we took?" And I was like, "I did, yeah." I kind of
It's
wanted
calling. It's calling to you.
it's awful. Anyway, all right. I've been hearing clinking dishes going on in the background.
All right.
You get back to your family and have a good rest of your vacation. And I'll see you on Monday. Okay.
Sounds good. See you, man.
Awesome. Have a good night.